Please stand as you're able and open your teal hymnal to 1058.
The hours of freedom
Please join me in the chalice lighting ritual. We light this chalice to celebrate Unitarian Universalism. This is the church of the open mind. This is the church of the helping hands. This is the church of the loving heart. Together we care for the church and each other. Welcome to St. John's Unitarian Universalist Church. My name is Melissa Rowland. I'll be your worship associate today. We are a welcoming congregation, and we welcome you regardless of whatever it is that makes you unique. We enjoy seeing the unique qualities in everyone. Today is Mother's Day, and it's a beautiful day, and thank you for joining us this morning. Please silence your electronic devices. There's the camera. I want to welcome everyone online. The camera's moved. And to acknowledge that we have construction well underway and continuing, and thank you for being with us today. Please, there was a couple of changes to the order of service. Oh, that's right, I have the reading. So the reading is not what it is in the order of service. The reading is from Women's Meditation Network. She exists within each of us, the mother of love, and she's waiting for you to say when. She's ready to hug you when you need it the most, ready to be stern now and then. She knows all the words that you need to hear when you were a growing young child. She knows all the ways to fill up your heart so you can shine and twirl. So reach deep inside and decide that you will mother yourself with sweet care. Then open up wide to the goodness that's here. This love is beyond compare. Please rise in spirit or as you are able and sing 181 in our hardback Singing the Living Tradition.
We'll have Pengcheng play with us.
Please join me in saying our affirmation. This is the mission of our faith, to teach the fragile art of hospitality, to revere both the critical mind and the generous heart, to prove that diversity need not mean divisiveness, and to witness to all that we must hold the whole world in our hands. We will now honor joys and concerns. If this is your first time here, we pick a stone and place it in the sand to represent a joy or concern. If you have something that you would like spoken from the pulpit, you can leave it in a piece of paper up here. And if you're online, please post it in the chat and we will read it from the pulpit. We place one last stone for joys and concerns not spoken or placed today. Now is the time for story of all ages.
Good morning. So this is the time when the kids can come up to the front if they want to, and then you can be part of the conversation. We've got some new kids here today. My name is Ashley Rhodes, and I am Director of Children's Programming here, and my kids are here today, and they brought some friends, and Garfield would like to start. So this is my daughter, Amelia, but she has Garfield with her.
So today is Mother's Day, and we're going to talk about mothers, right?
I need to interrupt. I need to interrupt because I don't know what a mother is. What is a mother?
I know what a mother is. It's a sandwich.
I don't think that's right.
I don't know what a mother is. It's someone who loves you, cares about you, and also gives you hugs. So like a stuffed animal?
I think it's someone who listens to you.
So like a recorder? A tape recorder? Or is it, this doesn't make sense. Well, it's like a stuffed animal and a tape recorder, but it's not.
Does anybody else up here want to help? I think our friends are confused, right? Do you have any other ideas that might clear it up? You don't have to say anything, but you can if you want to.
Yes, I think someone not, you guys are little too. Okay, you try. Okay. Okay. Sometimes mothers can be a little frustrated and mad, but they still love you no matter what. So this still doesn't make sense. Your turn. Tell me what a mother is.
Maybe they're someone who hugs you and takes care of you no matter what. And they're very smart.
That's a good one. Yes, like a nanny. Well, not quite. And they don't get paid, so. Why don't they get paid though? Because they're doing the same job as a nanny, but this doesn't make sense.
One more thing to do.
Well, it's kind of like a nanny, but younger.
Okay. So my kids came up with all of these answers. So, but I did want to end with, if you had to explain to someone who was, from another planet where they structured everything differently and they didn't have families the way you do, how would you explain what a mother is? Like, how would you explain that? A sandwich, maybe. We're all done. Thank you very much. We're going to head downstairs now, and we'll see you all after the service.
Okay, goodbye.
Sing them out.
Number 414 in your gray hymnal. As we leave this friendly place, Lord, give light to every face. May the kindness which we learn, Lord, our hearts till we return.
We have a few joys and sorrows to share this morning. I invite you into a spirit of meditation and prayer as we lift up this gathered community and those at home. From our online community, Dick Fensel has recovered from his mild case of COVID, and Carol managed to escape it and consistently test negative. Yay. Mira Wadwin fell this week, and she fractured her wrist. Jim McDonough and Catherine are home from their trip to England, where Jim fell and broke his hip. So it's been quite an ordeal for them. I invite you to contact our caring committee if you're able to offer any support for them, meals, whatever they might need. Also want to acknowledge that the flowers today were donated by Emily Hodges in honor of Harriet Snyder. Hold this beloved community in your hearts. Recognize that we are here for one another. Melissa will lead us in a meditation.
This is a meditation, again, from the Women's Meditation Network.com. Take a moment. Breathe fully, deep into your core. Exhale completely. Relax a little more. See if you can ride the rhythms of your breath. Its pace slows you down as you go. Then feel your heartbeat and know you are whole, destined to be here and in flow. Breathe fully, deep into your core. Exhale completely. Relax a little more. Imagine those arms wrapped around you tight as you melt into the depths of their love. Feel yourself surrender to the healing and delight. You are so beloved. What do you need, sweet one? How can I help? I'm here to guide you to you. I'll heal all your wounds and help you back up, then remind you what to do. Feel the warmth from her heart, the clarity from her mind. This mother inside of you. You know who you are. You know what you need. So mother yourself through and through. Namaste, beautiful. We will now take a moment to receive the gifts that you are willing and able to give to this church to carry on its mission.
Our sermon this morning is in three voices from the mothers among us, or they're talking about mothering in one way or another. And I don't know if you have an order, but I have Susan listed first. So Susan Small will be first, and then Monica Pellman, and then Laura Bange.
Good morning. Today we give a shout out to any and all who have taken on the role of motherhood, whether by traditional or non-traditional means. It's probably safe to say that love often supports such decisions, but it's good too to recognize and honor the decision not to parent, and to think of those who have wanted the role, but for whom circumstances have interfered. I'll simply speak a bit about my own personal experiences in momhood. Clearly, I fit the category of traditional boomer thought and behavior by marrying after college, working, baking bread, making candles. Some of you remember the 70s. When it seemed time to think about starting a family, I knew I wanted to do that. I mean, motherhood is easy, as you all know, without complexities, if you plan well. We know this because most of us had moms, and they showed us how easy. May my mom rest in peace after raising 5 of us brats as a military wife when planning never worked. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was ow, or really a more guttural version in maternal response to the magnificent effort of childbirth. In 1977, boomer, hippie 20-somethings like me were stridently committed to natural, no-drug, Lamaze childbirth, and then to breastfeeding ad infinitum with support from La Leche League neighborhood meetings, and on to making all our own baby food. Anyone recognize that? I was ever so briefly into cloth diapering. My wonderful mother-in-law successfully tempted me with Pampers to end my diaper dipping days. Sorry, landfill. But I had to learn all these things, to think differently from my mom, because she had not done things this way. So I had 3 sons, much to the chagrin of my brother, whose wife had 3 daughters. There's been very little lace in my house. As part of good planning, I read about the first 3 years of life and other books by folks more enlightened than Dr. Spock. I prepared for successful gestation, natural delivery, rearing of kiddos without equal, dare I say, presidential quality. I bought into much of that as a 20-something, looking forward to becoming a mom. But it's funny how small complexities crept into plans, like a baby coming weeks early and on New Year's Day, 5 a.m., it was a race to Millard Fillmore Hospital in an orange VW Rabbit, stick shift, delivery a couple hours later. So much for getting into the Lamaze breathing pattern. The famous Buffalo storm of the century hit 3 weeks later. Plans and complexities. By 5 months, Josh had begun to sleep as long as 4 or 5 hours in a stretch. Number 1 son had not read the books. The hard lessons on parenting were beginning, in particular that I was not so completely in charge as I had expected. And sons 2 and 3, with maddening consistency, also chose early arrivals, crack of dawn, after races to a hospital in a VW Rabbit. By son number 3, books put away and planning discarded, I had maybe in a teeny tiny way evolved toward accepting the lesson that I wasn't invited to be fully in charge. No matter how we talked it up, for example, Number one son was never keen on having a brother when number two showed up. More complexity. The snow globe of our family was shaken quite violently when Dad left. The boys were 6, 8, and 12. I was at the UC College of Nursing. Not one of us would ever be the same. Now the words were survive and maintain stability. Keep pumping love into the equation. Never speak negatively about Dad. Lead with heart. Try to stay sane. No need to buy gefilte fish anymore. The boys are hovering around 40 now, and we've moved into the ill-defined stage of, why won't my sons call me? Is this part of an evolving developmental relationship, still adding small notes of complexity? We love our kids ferociously while trying to make decisions we hope are the right ones. What do 20 and 30-somethings know about these things? Sorry, Laura. How many of these decisions were not the right ones? At times I keep myself awake at night, pondering, yes, even now. Still, my gratitude runs deep for my sons choosing me to be their mom. They are 3 stellar individuals after all, of whom I'm so very proud. I believe son number 2 has forgiven my misleading him about the tooth fairy and Santa. Son number 3 looks every year to be sure I have his first grade ornament on the Christmas tree. Son number 1 epitomizes solid, loving fatherhood with his twin boy and girl. But he's still my son, and shouldn't he call his mother more often?
Thank you for the chuckles. And good morning. And I should say I'm hosting my family for Mother's Day today, so I hope to make this quick and painless. We're very grateful to have our mom with us. She's 91. She's still in her own home, still loves a good cookout. She was an only child, and somehow my mom figured out how to raise 8 kids. It continues to mystify me. She was the in-the-home mom of our traditional Midwest Catholic family. She rarely complained or raised her voice, and yet she was and is still the quiet leader of our family. My dad passed 2 months ago, and the way my mom has rallied and carried on is inspiring to me and to my siblings and her grands and her great-grands. We're going to enjoy this day with her today. I still try to understand the lessons I learned about motherhood in my growing up years. My motherhood journey has not been traditional. I'm a single lesbian mom by choice. My daughter is donor conceived. She has a large group of known half-siblings, and I'm good friends with several of the moms of her siblings. Oh, the internet, a great thing. Donor sibling registry connected us in a way I never imagined. And it's been a wonderful resource for me and for my daughter. It's been enriching and a fun experience to know her extended donor family. I have thought of my motherhood journey as a calling for me. I don't know a better way to describe it. And I continue to be grateful to live in a time when motherhood was and is possible for me and others like me. I had reproductive choices. Fortunately, I had the means emotionally and socially and financially to freely act on those choices. And there are many people like me whose lives are enriched immensely by being able to freely make choices about motherhood. And as I have been thinking about this reflection today, I realize that most of my mom life has been as a member of St. John's. We started coming to St. John's in 2000 when my daughter was 5, and we signed the membership book in 2001. And I can say I really like being a mom in our church community. I know how kids are cared for. I love the parents I have come to know here. I love the spiritual and religious teaching we share with children and with each other. And I'm still here. I hung around even when my daughter was less interested in church and then went on to college and started her own life. Through it all, I believe the circle of care that I felt here as a mom continues to inspire me to be a better church member. I think that's why I've hung around, even when I was busy working and then caring for my aging parents. There were times when I was less interested in some of the church politics and unease that sometimes comes with being part of a progressive religious community where people are not afraid to speak their mind. All this to say, I'm very proud of my family history and its ups and downs while we've been at St. John's. I can also say that it feels good to tell some of my mom's story to some of you and to tell my reproductive story. You may recall Reverend Terry Williams from Faith Choice, Ohio, who was one of our guest sermonists last month, encouraging us to tell our reproductive stories. We all have one, he said. His sermon is the April 23rd video, by the way, on our YouTube channel, and I encourage you to listen to it if you haven't already. And as he said it would, telling my story helps me think about a better future for my child and her generation. As I think about our liberal religious community in a post-pandemic time, in our new gathering spaces, I envision an even better time for St. John's kids and their families, those who are here and those who have not yet found our place. I offer up my story in gratitude to St. John's for welcoming and caring about a mom like me and families like mine. Blessings to all of us on Mother's Day.
I hate to follow both of those. You guys are awesome. I have 2 little ones, 4 and 7, and I actually don't like Mother's Day very much. I don't know if anybody shares that feeling, but I think the main reason is I just never know what to get from my mom. I want her to know that I love her and she's special to me and we're very close, but I'm just like walking through Joseph Beth or some plant shop thinking, I don't know what to get, and I would rather be doing something else, like playing Scrabble with her or going for a bike ride or whatever. So I guess I'm not a big fan of Mother's Day, but even so, I can make the best of it by doing some reflecting on some times that I've had as a mother. And I think it's probably a good idea to step back every so often and kind of see how I'm doing as a mother. And so I was doing some reflecting on that, writing this little thing, and I realized that there are some really beautiful parts and some major challenges to each stage through a child's life. And I think as a baby, it's kind of easy on one hand to take care of a baby because it's just like very simple. You just need to feed them and get them to sleep a lot and keep them clean. And of course, they demand a lot of your time and your energy and you're sleep deprived, but it's just a very uncomplicated relationship and you know what you need to do. And then you have toddlerhood, and I found that challenging. I learned a lot about myself having a toddler, and sometimes it was very nice things to learn about myself, like rejuvenating my imaginative and playful side was really exciting. I remember one time Iris wanted to play doctor, and I was the doctor, and she had like 30 stuffed animals lined up, each one a patient, and I had to come up with an accident or an ailment for each one to have something unique wrong with them, and then I had to have like an x-ray machine or a cast or something to fix each animal, and it was really stretching my, creativity, but it was really fun. And I remember another time she likes to pretend, Mom, pretend you're Santa Claus, or pretend like you're Mrs. Claus and I'm Santa Claus, or whatever. One time she asked me to pretend like I was an orange crayon. And I'm like, how can I possibly pretend like I'm an orange crayon? But then I was just like, you know what? I'll be an orange crayon. And I don't even have to do anything. I'll just say that I'm an orange crayon, and she'll be happy with that. So anyway, I've enjoyed that aspect of motherhood, being more creative and playful. But I have learned some unpleasant things about myself too that I'll share with you. I've learned that I have an angry and controlling side to myself that I was not aware of before having kids. And I don't know if I ever would have found that out if I hadn't had kids or not, but I did realize that and was not excited to find that out. It led me to do a lot of introspection about my own childhood, my own relationship with my mom, which is now, a good relationship, but of course, I feel like all of our relationships with our moms are complicated to some degree, and so is mine. And so I'm glad that the experience has forced me to do a lot of thinking back about my own childhood and relationship with my mom. And now my kids are school age. They are getting to be more independent, and I'm thinking that it'll be tempting over the next several years to kind of allow them a lot of independence so that I can be freed up to explore my own hobbies and get back to doing things that I liked doing before having kids. But I really want to make the best of these years where they're so sweet, and I want to really stay close to them and spend plenty of time together. I don't know why I'm getting tearful. And I want to still give them a reasonable amount of independence that they're asking for. Sorry. But I'm excited to I did not know I was going to get emotional up here. Sorry. I'm just excited to keep reading books with them and going on walks together and doing crafts together, coming to church together. And I think and hope that that will help us be very close and have a strong relationship going into the next major phase, which will be adolescence, which I've heard can have some challenges. I'm not sure. So, thank you, and happy Mother's Day.
We're so fortunate to be graced by your special music today. Thank you. And it is pledge season, so we're going to have a pledge moment. I invite Charles, Spencer, and Barbara Haddon forward, please.
I'll start by saying I'm 94 years old, and in 3 months I'll be 95. And in that time, I've had the wonderful experience of this place. I remember when I was 16, I stood in the sanctuary of a big church in Columbus. It was a congregational church. The minister didn't believe in the Virgin Mary, and so it was okay with me, the rest of it, until I got to the litany of, I believe in God the Father Almighty, maker of heaven and earth, and in Jesus Christ, his only Son, our Lord. He was crucified, dead, and buried, and by the third day he rose from the dead and raised someone. And at that point, my words stuck in my throat, literally. I can remember them vividly. I dropped it. I couldn't go back to church with my family. I tried to explain why, but that didn't work. They still went. I didn't. And I didn't go back to a church until I had a little 2-year-old boy. I had noticed this building. I noticed how amazing the front was when my little boy said, "Look, Mom, a ship." And sure enough, it looked like a ship, and it has been like a ship. And Blue Boat Home was a perfect thing to play for this essay. I cannot tell you how important it is in my life. I have family. I'm very close to them. And number 2 is St. John's. There's a dog or a cat in there somewhere. But it's been, I can tell you things about this place you wouldn't believe. You wouldn't believe there were torches on the wall of this church, and they were live. We had clouds hanging from the ceiling when we had a big, what was it? Renaissance fair. Thank you. I've had a lot of fun. I've had a lot of tears. My church was here for me when my son died a couple of years ago. And they not only furnished all the help and support I needed, but also contributed a fair amount of money, which helped my daughter-in-law a great deal. I didn't know churches did things like that. We do it when we can for people who need food, who people like me who need a ride without a car. I don't mean that without a car. Let's just skip that part. I have so many friends here, I cannot tell you how close they are, as close as family, really. There's been no part of this experience that has made me so angry that I would stay away and just sort of ignore it. But I couldn't stand it. I couldn't stand being away from here. And this is as honest as I can be, folks. It's a special place to be when you need it. And it's special for others to have you here. There are no words that can invite you adequately, But if you're here for the first time or the second time, make sure you come back, because every Sunday is different, right? We almost always feed you. Sometimes it's better than other times. But I think it's a wonderful thing to do a luncheon for people who live as far away as Romania, so that their older folks have bread. All the proceeds of those lunches, which you eat here, go to those folks a long way off, who, by the way, are supporting people from Ukraine in their little houses, their little towns. So for me, it's not just a place which I was attracted to, but more than that, I was given an opportunity to be part of something much bigger than any other part of my life except my family. I trust that you will feel some of that. The more you come, the more you begin to feel it yourself. I hope that you'll feel able to give as much as you can. And the one thing I want you to remember, besides all this, is that St. John's is self-supported. There is no other unit or group or resource or backup. This is it. This is it. We don't receive other funds, but we like to give. And so this year, when you start thinking about your pledge, and I hope you will do that soon, because there's a time period that makes it work, help the people that guide the church. And that time is soon. So think about it, begin to love it as I do, and thank you for holding me in your hearts for now.
Thank you, Barbara, for reminding the pledge team as well as the congregation what this is all about. I'll remember this. The only thing that Barbara didn't cover is I like to urge people to try the pledge online option. It's way easy. I didn't do it for a while because I thought, it's internet. But try it, and mainly Barbara did mention, do it soon. And she explained why. Thank you.
We have a few announcements this morning. Of course, the pledge drive is one of them, but it's a complicated mess, right? First, you have to know how much money people are going to give, then you have to put together a budget, and we have the very likely opportunity to have a new interim minister. So all these things we're trying to juggle at once. So grateful for your gratitude, or for your generosity. And because we're in the middle of developing that budget, we want you to please come to our budget meetings before the congregational meetings so that you know what's in it before you have to vote on it. So Monday, like tomorrow, at 7 p.m. on Zoom is one of them. The other one will be Sunday the 21st after the service. Please come, look at the documents, make your concerns known before the congregational meeting. I also want to point out that on May 28th, our Memorial Day service will be held in Kroll-Pfeiffer. And so, please make your way there for that particular Sunday. And it is a Memorial Day service, so we will be reading the names of people who have died in service to our country. So if you have names that you want remembered, please feel free to write them down ahead of time or send them to ravensong397@gmail.com. Feel free to include the branch of service and the date. And these things are in your little announcement sheet too, so take a look at everything that's going on. Another thing is that you've heard a lot, I think, about Article 2, our principles and purposes which are under review, possibly to be changed. And we send delegates to our annual General Assembly, and those delegates would like to know what you think about the changes before they vote. Doesn't bind them, but it helps them. And in the e-news this past week, there was a survey, and so far, I don't think anyone has filled it out. So please take a look and fill it out to help guide our delegates in that process. Please rise in body or spirit and join in singing hymn 331, Life is the Greatest Gift of All.
Life is the greatest gift of all, the richest one is good. Life and its creatures, great and small, of high and lowly birth. So treasure it and measure it with teeth of shining worth. Mine is the greatest gift of all, this God of every yours. Its creations declare, its blessing bounds all bars. It breaks the wind, it changes the storm, it brings the utmost stars. We are of life, its shining gift, the measure of all things. Up from the clouds our temples lift, our vision soars on wings. For seed and root, for flower and fruit, our grateful spirit sings.
Go in peace with the idea of mothering in your hearts, nurturing others on our path forward. Hold this community in love and grace. May it be so.